Good morning and welcome to the April 17th, 2025 meeting of the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. The time is 9:33 a.m. I'm joined by my colleagues, Bobby Janecka and Katarina Gonzalez, our General Counsel, Mary Smith, and our Public Interest Counsel, Garrett Arthur. For each item that argument or discussion is allowed, we will inform the parties and public of time limits for their discussion. Registration closed at 9:30, but if you'd like to address the commission on a particular item, please either visit our registration table if you're here in person, or if you're on the webinar, email agenda@tceq.texas.gov with your name, affiliation, an item that you would like to comment on. We, of course, will do our best to accommodate the request. For those making presentations, please wait to begin your presentation until I have asked you to begin speaking. And please check to make sure your line is unmuted before proceeding. Our gratitude of the day of the meeting goes to Mary Smith, our wonderful General Counsel of the Commission. She is our North Star and we very much appreciate her help. And she keeps me going at the agendas, make sure that I don't skip over things. So thank you. All right, Mary, first item.
And I'll just say that I appreciate my general counsel staff and all the assistant general counsels who make me look good. So item 1 is the consideration of the application by Serenity RV Resort LP for new TIPD's permit number WQ0015946001. The parties have been notified that the commissioners will not take oral argument but may ask questions, and those who have signed in will be noted for the record.
Item 1 is the application by Serenity RV Resort Park, a limited partnership for a new TIPD's permit to authorize the discharge of treated domestic wastewater at a daily average flow not to exceed 20,000 gallons per day. The commission received numerous hearing requests from individuals on this matter. For these type applications, the commission considers a two-step analysis. First, we determine whether a hearing requester is an affected person. Then if there are affected hearing requesters, we consider whether an affected person raised issues in their hearing request that are referable to our friends at SOA. Colleagues, I don't believe that any of the pending hearing requestor has established effectiveness given the extremely small volume of flow, the location of some of the properties on the other side of the large bay with tidal influence and significant opportunity for dilution and dispersion, and the use of common treatment units. I believe that all pending requesters at a mile or more from the facility and across the bay are extremely unlikely to be impacted by the proposed discharge. While the ED and OPIC recommended referring 2 individuals whose properties were located within a half-mile of the facility of SOA, those requestors filed withdrawals of their hearing requests after the responses were filed. So I would deny all remaining individual hearing requests. I'll stop there. Bobby, Katarina?
I'm in agreement given the very low amount of flow. The only 2 requesters I would have found affected have withdrawn.
I'm also in agreement.
Thank you. I'd also recommend denying all requests for reconsideration. I don't believe they raised new, relevant, and material information for the commission to consider sending back to the ED for further review. Finally, I'd recommend that we adopt the executive director's response to comments. Bobby?
Agreed.
Same.
Great. All right, do I have a motion?
I move that we deny all hearing requests and requests for reconsideration. Issue TPDES permit number WQ00159460001 to Serenity RV Resort LP as recommended by the executive director, and adopt the executive director's response to comment.
A second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. All right, item number 2, please.
Item number 2 is the consideration of the application by GCC Sun City Materials LLC for issuance of new air quality standard permit for concrete batch plant, registration number 173 973L002. The parties have been notified that the commissioners will not take oral argument, but may ask questions, and anyone that's signed in will be noted for the record.
Good morning, y'all. We have an application by GCC Sun Materials LLC for a new air quality standard permit concrete batch plant registration to authorize a temporary concrete batch plant in Stevens County. We received several hearing requesters raising concerns about the impacts of the proposed facility on the requesters and their property. However, Texas Health and Safety Code Section 382.058C requires that only hearing requesters actually residing in a permanent residence within 440 yards of the proposed plant may be found affected for this type application. My review of the hearing requests and responses, including the ED's map, indicates that all hearing requesters' residents are more than 440 yards from the proposed facility. Therefore, none of them may be found affected for this application. In addition, the commission received several requests for reconsideration of the executive director's decision, but none of the requests identified an error or omission that merits reconsideration of the executive director's decision. The executive director's response to comments addresses those concerns. So I deny all the hearing requests and requests for reconsideration, issue the standard permit registration, and adopt the ED's response to comments. I'll stop here. Bobby,
I agree.
I see it the same way.
do I have a motion?
I move that we deny all hearing requests and requests for reconsideration, issue air quality standard permit for concrete batch plant registration number 173973L002 to GCC Sun City Materials LLC as recommended by the executive director, and that we adopt the executive director's response to comments.
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank y'all. All right, item number 3, Mary.
Item number 3 is the consideration for adoption of revisions to the new Technology Implementation Grant Program Guidelines for Grants. And the executive director's staff is here to present this item.
Good morning, Chairwoman, Commissioners, General Counsel, and Public Entrance Counsel. On behalf of the Executive Director, I am Brandon Groylick with the Air Grants Division. With me online is Amanda Cranock with the Environmental Law Division. Revisions to the new Technology Implementation Grant, or NTIG, guidelines incorporate changes made in Texas Health and Safety Code, Chapter 391, relating to the Texas Emissions Reduction Plan, NTIG program. The revisions implement statutory changes made by House Bill 4885, 88th Texas Legislature, regular session by adding downstream oil and gas activities, including refining, to the list of eligible project types under the NTIG program. The TERP NTIG program offers grants statewide on a competitive basis to implement new technologies that reduce emissions of pollutants from stationary sources and oil and gas activities. Because the guideline changes will implement existing statutory language, TCQ did not hold public hearings for non-rule adoption. Staff updated guidance documents and application forms for the NTIG solicitation and hosted a public webinar to explain the new program requirements to stakeholders and answer questions. Staff respectfully request permission to make non-substantive revisions to comply with Texas Register requirements. Thank you. We are available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Brandon. Any questions? No. Thank you. Has anyone signed up for this item?
No one is signed in on this one.
Garrett?
Good morning, Chairwoman and Commissioners. For the record, I'm Garrett Arthur, TCEQ Public Interest Counsel. OPIC understands this project is required legislative implementation, and we therefore support adoption of these revisions.
Short and sweet. Thank you. For this item, we're considering the adoption of revisions to the new Technology Implementation Grant Guidelines. The substantive revisions to the guidelines implement the statutory changes to the Texas Health and Safety Code, Chapter 391, made by House Bill 4885 and the 80th Texas Legislature. That bill added downstream production and refining oil and gas activities to projects eligible for grants under this program. The revisions to the guidelines are straightforward implementation of 4885 and will improve the effectiveness of the program and further the goals of TERP. There are other non-substantive grammatical and stylistic changes to the guidelines that will improve the document's accessibility and are consistent with the agency's current publication template. I'm ready to move forward with these guidelines. Colleagues,
I am as well.
Same.
do I have a motion?
I move that we adopt the revisions to the new technology implementation grant guidelines as recommended by the executive director.
A second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thanks, Brandon. Item number 4, please.
Item number 4 is the consideration of gifts and donations of $500 or more in value given to the TCEQ and submitted for approval in accordance with Texas Government Code Chapter 575. And the executive director's staff is here to present this item.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chairwoman, Commissioners, General Counsel, and Public Interest Counsel. For the record, my name is Yen Tran of the General Law Division, representing the Executive Director. Before you are the gifts and donations received by the agency in the past 90 days in accordance with Chapter 575 of the Government Code. The Executive Director has accepted these gifts and respectfully requests your acknowledgement of these gifts. As always, I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Yen. Any questions for her? Nope. Has anyone signed up on this item?
Nobody's signed in.
Garrett?
OPIC supports approval of the resolution acknowledging receipt of gifts and donations.
Thank you, Garrett. I've reviewed the gifts in the report. They're generally gifts related to travel and attendance at work-related conferences or trade shows. I appreciate all the donations and am ready to move forward with approving the resolution acknowledging the ED's acceptance of these gifts. Colleagues?
I only wanted to add my gratitude as well.
Yes, thank you.
Wonderful. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve issuance of the resolution acknowledging the executive director's acceptance of the gifts and donations contained in the TCEQ interoffice memorandum to the commissioners filed in docket number 2025-0189-MIS.
Your second?
A second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes. Thank you, Yen. All right, let's move on to the enforcement docket. Next item, please.
Give everybody a moment to get settled. That takes us to the enforcement docket, items 5 and 6, and then 8 through 26. Item 7 was remanded at the request of the ED. The executive director's staff is here to present these matters.
Good morning, Chairwoman, Commissioners, General Counsel, and Public Interest Counsel. For the record, my name is Melissa Cordell of the Enforcement Division, and with me today are Craig Pritzloff, Director of the Office of Compliance and Enforcement, and Gitanjali Yadav of the Litigation Division, representing the Executive Director. Pending before you are items 5 and 6 and 8 through 26. The total assessed administrative penalties are $311,062 with $50,986 deferred, $5,850 applied towards supplemental environmental projects, and $254,226 to the general revenue. We respectfully request approval of these items and are available to answer any questions you may have.
Excellent. Thank you. Any questions? No. Do we have anyone signed up on these items?
So on item 16, we had an individual signed in who's available if the commission has questions. Their presence will be noted for the record. And then on item 15, we have Mike and Lisa Stevens here.
Do we have any questions on item 16 first? All right, well, Mr. and Mrs. Stevens, come on up.
You can go to the podium there, and if you push the button on the microphone so that the light turns green.
Well, I'm Mike and this is Lisa Stevens. We had a family-owned business we were partners with my parents for a few years and then for about 20 years. And then I became a sole proprietor after that. And we have not, we closed our service station down in 2008. And we opened a Subway restaurant in 2023, or no, in 03, I'm sorry. And then we retired from that in 2023. And so this property's been vacant since that time.
Okay, thank you very much for your comments. Garrett?
OPIC has reviewed each of these items, and with the exception of remanded item 7, we support adoption of all the orders presented by ED staff.
I'd like to, okay, go
Do you have a further comment, Ms.
Yeah.
Stevens?
Do you want to?
No, what was item 7? Okay, this is somebody else. Okay. Thank you.
ahead. Oh my goodness, no, thank y'all for, thank y'all for coming. I very much appreciate it. And y'all match too. Love it. I'd like to thank staff, of course, for their work on these items before us. Each one takes a lot of manpower. I've reviewed them all and I'm ready to move forward with them. Bobby?
Likewise, no questions.
Same.
Excellent. Do I have a motion?
I move that we adopt items 5 and 6 and 8 through 26 as recommended today by the executive director.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. They pass. Excellent.
And then item number 27 is the consideration of the monthly enforcement report, and the executive director's item is here to present, or the executive director's staff is here to present this item.
Good morning. Good morning, Chairwoman, Commissioners, General Counsel, and Public Interest Counsel. My name is Melissa Cordell of the Enforcement Division, and with me are Craig Pritzloff, Director of the Office of Compliance and Enforcement, and Gitanjali Yadav of the Litigation Division. We are here to present the monthly enforcement report for fiscal year 2025 through February. There are 521 effective administrative orders issued, and of those, 47 contain supplemental environmental projects. These orders assess a total of $7,786,504 with a payable amount of $4,611,996. $1,552,684 are to be paid towards supplemental environmental projects. 7,644 notices of violation have been issued through either our field offices or review of self-reported data in our central office, and 905 enforcement action referrals have been received. There are 3,104 pending administrative orders with 1,481 cases that are on the backlog. 140 cases are pending at the Attorney General's office for representation in district court, and 6 judgments have been issued. 1,376 cases are being tracked for compliance. We are available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions? Melissa, would you repeat that last stat? How many cases are we tracking for compliance?
1,376.
That is an extraordinary amount. The workload of TCEQ is just growing by the month. So thank you very much. Has anyone signed in for this item?
No one is signed in.
Garrett?
OPIC has no comment on the report except to say that we appreciate staff's work.
Excellent. Thank you. And I'd like to thank staff, of course, for their report and the work that they do to ensure compliance. We are a compliance first agency. Colleagues, do you have anything to add?
I really appreciate your comment, Chairwoman. I want to only add that one piece of nuance y'all may not see as loudly as I do in my context or in my perspective is how the staff impacted in OCE carrying that 1,000+ compliance workload, I think are stretching far harder than they have been. In more distant memory, our agency shifted posture to no longer divide and give pre the agreed orders that come before us and post the agreed orders, the compliance portion of it. I think that considerably enhances the manner that our staff are able to engage with and follow start to finish individual project. But I do think that tremendously expands the amount of a workload that translates to on our staff. So I appreciate you recognizing that big number, and just want to add, it feels bigger for those staff who are carrying that load because of the start to finish posture that our agency now successfully engages on this space. So thank you.
Well said. Katarina?
Thank you.
Excellent. Do I have a motion?
I don't think we
No,
need to make
no
one.
action is required on this. Next item, please. Thank y'all.
So we'll be taking up 28 and 29 next. These are the consideration for publication of and hearing on proposed amendments to 30 TAC Chapter 114 regarding control of air pollution for motor vehicles and the corresponding revisions to the state implementation plan. And the executive director staff is here to present these items.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners, General Counsel, and Public Interest Counsel. On behalf of the Executive Director, I am Allison Stokes with the Air Quality Division. With me today is Sarah Thomas with the Air Quality Division. Contessa Gay with the Environmental Law Division is available online. For your consideration today is item 28, the Executive Director's proposed revisions to 30 TAC Chapter 114, Control of Air Pollution from Motor Vehicles. Also for your consideration today is item 29, the Executive Director's proposed Vehicle Inspection and Maintenance State Implementation Plan revision. This proposed SIP revision and rulemaking would implement House Bill 3297, which eliminated mandatory annual vehicle safety inspection program for non-commercial vehicles. And then Senate Bill 2102, which extends the initial registration and inspection period for rental vehicles from 2 years to 3 years. Staff respectfully requests permission to publish the proposed SIP revision and rule revisions, solicit public comment, and hold a public hearing. Thank you for your consideration, and we're available to answer any questions.
Thank you so much. Any questions for Allison or Sarah? No? Nope. Has anyone signed up in this item?
No one has signed in on either one.
We need to get some separate mics. This back and forth is a little crazy. Garrett.
Good morning, Chairwoman, Commissioners, General Counsel, and Executive Director. My name is Eli Martinez, and I'm with the Office of Public Interest Counsel. For the record, we've reviewed items 28 and 29 relating to the Chapter 114 amendments and the inspection and maintenance SIP revisions required by HB 3297 and SB 2102. Because they are legislatively mandated and there are no alternatives to these actions, we support their approval. But as always, we will attend any public meetings that may take place as these items make their way forward, assist the public in any questions or concerns they may have relating to participating in the process, and we will consider all public comment and submit our own if the need arises to facilitate the Commission's future adoption of these efforts, so you may make your decisions with the full benefit of all relevant perspectives and insights at that time. Thank you. We're available for any questions.
Thank you very much. First, I'd like to thank staff, of course, for their work on the proposed rulemaking and SIP revision. I've reviewed the proposed Chapter 114 implementation rulemaking, corresponding SIP revision, and I'm ready to move forward and put these out for publication and public comment. I'd like to see what the public has to say about them. Commissioners, do you have any thoughts?
I also look forward to the public's input.
I agree.
Excellent. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve the publication of and hearing on proposed amendments to 30 Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 114, Control of Air Pollution from Motor Vehicles, subchapters A and C, and corresponding revisions to the state implementation plan as recommended by the Executive Director.
A second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Thank y'all very much. Next item, please, Mary.
Items 30 through 33 are for closed session, and the commission will not be meeting in closed session today.
The agenda stands adjourned. Wow, the time is 9:57 a.m. Speedy Gonzalez here. That's your lesson.
Yeah. Did you see Brooks'